I woke up smiling. 7 years. 7 whole years. And today was our day. Happy anniversary, love, I whispered to the empty side of the bed. The sheets were cold. Too cold. I nudged him. Hey, you awake? Silence. I thought he was joking. A little late maybe, but joking. I checked my phone. Nothing. No messages. No missed calls. Not even a busy love you. I tried calling him. Straight to voicemail. Again and again. My stomach churned. I paced the apartment. I texted him. Happy anniversary. Can't wait to see you tonight. Nothing. My chest tightened. The hours crawled. My stomach twisted. Panic started to creep in. Where are you? I whispered to myself, hoping he'd magically appear. I called his best friend, Liam. Hey, is he with you? My voice cracked. There was a pause. Then, no. Why? No reason. Just he sup's not answering. He sup's supposed to be here. Maybe he sup's stuck in traffic. He sup's probably fine. Fine? Fine. My mind screamed, but I nodded anyway. Yeah, okay. I sat by the window, staring at the empty street below, trying to calm myself, trying to believe him. Then my phone buzzed. A new message from Claire, my cousin. I frowned. Why would she text me? I opened it. A photo. My stomach fell. Him, down on one knee, smiling. That stupid, perfect smile. And her, my cousin, grinning like she'd won the lottery. I stared, blinked again. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw the phone. I wanted to disappear. Is this real? I whispered to the empty room. I called Liam back. Send me that photo again, I said, my voice trembling. He hesitated. You sure you want to see it? I have to. I looked again. Every detail burned into my brain. His hand, her eyes, that smirk. I could see it all, every laugh I thought we shared, every moment I trusted him. Gone, shattered. I tried calling him. Again, straight to voicemail. I paced, I cried, I screamed. I whispered his name like a prayer. He would never, I said aloud. But the photo said otherwise. I thought of every text, every dinner, every late-night conversation. Was she always there? Was this happening behind my back for months, weeks, days? I dropped to the couch. My heart was racing. My hands were shaking. I couldn't breathe. I opened my gallery, scrolling through our old photos, him holding me, laughing, kissing my forehead. Promises, rings, anniversary dinners, everything fake, everything a lie. I texted him one last time. Explain this. No reply. I stared at the phone. My fingers hovered. I wanted to throw it, smash it. But part of me wanted to know, wanted to hear his voice, even if it tore me apart. The clock ticked. Hours passed. Silence. I thought of confronting her. My cousin, that smile that always made me feel safe. Now she was the enemy. I whispered into the dark apartment. How could you do this? To me? The tears fell, hot, angry, helpless. My world had ended before breakfast. And then, through the haze, one thought pierced the chaos. This isn't over, not by a long shot. I remember the moment I saw her. My cousin standing there like she owned the air, that calm, infuriating smirk stretching across her face. You're smiling? I choked out, voice trembling. I can set help it, she said, tilting her head. It seps funny really, all this drama over love. Love, I spat the word. My hands shook. You mean his love? My husband? She shrugged, casual, like she hadn't set just shattered my world. I didn't set plan it. I didn't set mean to. Dawn, Sut, just Dawn, Sut. I stepped closer, heat rising. I trusted you, we grew up together, and you, my throat tightened, you went behind my back. Her smirk widened. I couldn't set resist him. You know that spark the first time we met. It was instantaneous. I didn't set fight it. I laughed, bitter and hollow. Spark? That sip's what you call destroying someone's sip's life. He loves me, okay, she said. Voice soft now, almost seductive. It steps not like I stole him. He came to me. I froze. My husband, he didn't move. Didn't say a word. Silence like a guillotine. My chest tightened. My stomach dropped. His eyes empty, guilty, told me everything I didn't want to hear. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw something, anything, at her perfect face. And you? I whispered, trembling. Did you ever care about me? Her eyes flickered, just for a second. Then that smirk returned. Of course I did. But love doesn't follow rules, does it? I staggered back, words failing me. My world tilted. Family calls started pouring in, concerned voices laced with awkward whispers. Friends texted, half sympathetic, half curious. Everyone knew, and no one knew how to make it better. I was isolated, a ghost in my own life. Photos on my phone, memories in my apartment, they all felt like lies. Every laugh, every promise, every hug now twisted into betrayal. I went to the kitchen, poured water into a glass. My hands shook so badly the water sloshed over the rim. I wanted to feel something, anything, but all I felt was numbness. And then rage, a low, simmering heat beneath the frozen layers of shock. I remembered their laughter, the late-night texts, the secret glances I hadn't noticed. I remembered believing in a future I had imagined, full of warmth and trust, now shredded like paper in a storm. You're just disgusting, I muttered under my breath. Not to her, but to the air that had swallowed my life whole. She laughed. You think I stem disgusting? Oh honey, you said through the one crying over something that happened. I live in the present. I wanted to run. I wanted to rip the walls down. Instead I sat, head in hands, trembling. The betrayal was a weight I couldn't lift. My own judgment felt like a lie. Every memory, was it real? Or just an illusion I created to protect myself? My husband finally spoke. One word, soft, weak. I sip sorry. It hit harder than any scream. That single apology, more empty than the silence that had preceded it, was proof that my marriage, my trust, my love, it was gone. I left the room. I didn't run. I didn't cry. I just walked outside. The air was heavy, thick with the scent of rain and regret. The world went on, oblivious to the storm in my chest. I realized something then. I wasn't just heartbroken. I wasn't just sad. I was erased. My life, my choices, my very existence had been rewritten without my consent. And in that realization, a tiny spark ignited, rage, cold, methodical, waiting. Numbness gave way to clarity. I would not stay a ghost. I would not disappear quietly. I clenched my fists. Slowly, deliberately, I would take back what was mine. Every betrayal had a price. Every lie had consequences. And I was just getting started. I didn't look back, but inside the storm had only begun. Days bleed into nights. My apartment feels smaller with each passing hour. Shadows stretch across the walls like fingers, whispering the betrayal over and over. I can't stop replaying it, her smirk, his silence. Every word, every pause. It's like a loop I can't escape. The phone buzzes. It's her, it's him, it's everyone. But I don't answer. I don't want to hear voices. Not now, not ever. A knock? Soft, tentative. Hey, it's me, my best friend. She leans against the doorframe, holding 2 coffees. Her eyes careful, worried, scan my face. Come in, I croak, voice barely above a whisper. She sits across from me. I've been trying to reach you. I don't want to talk. You have to, she says gently. I know it steps huge, but you can live in silence. I shake my head, trembling. I can't even, my throat tightens. My chest aches, words fail me. She reaches across the table, grabs my hand, warm, solid. You sups are not alone. Not now, not ever. I sup here. I swallow, trying to steady myself. I keep seeing them, smiling, laughing. That moment when everything cracked. I can stet. I know, she says softly. I know it hurts, but bottling it up will destroy you. I stare at my hands, shaking. Everything feels poisoned. My wedding photos on the shelf. My journal, unopened. Her face in my memories, twisting every happy moment into knives. I started writing, I admit, voice low. Not just venting, documenting. Every smile, every laugh, every memory, every lie. Her eyes widen. Really? I nod. It steps like, if I write it down, maybe it stays out of my head. Maybe I can see it clearly. See what they did. She squeezes my hand. That sits smart. You stir reclaiming your story. I look at her, eyes raw. I feel angry, and sad, and empty, and dark. She frowns. Dark how? I bite my lip. Like, maybe I don't have to be the victim. Maybe I can. I trail off, unsure. The thought scares me. Excites me. It burns. Her grip tightens. Whatever it is, I still help. You stir not alone in this. I nod. I need a plan, not for them, for me, to stop being erased. She exhales slowly, then we still start, step by step, together. The apartment is silent, except for the soft hum of the refrigerator. Outside, the city moves on, oblivious. I pull my journal closer. Pen poised, my hand shakes but I write. Day 1 they betrayed me. I saw it. I felt it. Their smiles haunt me. I won't forget. The ink flows. Memories, details, small things that mattered. The way he used to kiss my hand. The way she laughed at our dinner. Every stolen moment recorded. It's painful. Every word cuts like glass. But it's mine. Every page a reclaiming. I glance at my wedding photo. Him smiling. Me happy. Now hollow. I scribble in the margin. Poisoned forever. Anger and grief twist together. A tight knot in my chest. My hands tremble as I write. And then, a dark thought slips in, soft and insistent. Maybe I don't have to be the victim. I pause, pen hovering. The words taste like fire, a dangerous, thrilling fire. I close the journal. Breathe, tremble, but also feel a spark. A flicker of power I haven't allowed myself to feel. She watches me, patiently. You shall get through this, stronger. I look at her, voice low, almost a whisper. I can stet, not anymore. I sit back. The apartment is quiet. The grief still lingers, but beneath it, a simmering heat rises. Anger sharp and precise. I am not gone. I am not erased. I am starting. And maybe, just maybe, the story is mine to write. I woke up with a plan. Not a fleeting thought. Not a fantasy. A real, burning, undeniable plan. I couldn't let this slide. Not after everything. Not after the way they looked at each other like they'd erased me from existence. I sat in my apartment, coffee in hand, staring at the city through the window. My reflection looked small, weak, broken, but inside, something simmered. Rage, determination, power I'd almost forgotten I had. It started with observing, watching, listening, every conversation, every laugh, every slip of the mask. I saw it first at dinner with my husband's family. They were nervous, uneasy. His smile was too tight, her laugh too loud. She's different, his mother said quietly to someone. Not to me, not to her, just words that hung in the air. Different, I smirked inwardly. Not innocent, not perfect, just human, fragile, flawed. I noticed their little cracks, tiny betrayals they didn't even see. He lied about work trips. She exaggerated stories to make him look better. I catalogued everything in my mind. Every inconsistency, every selfish choice, every betrayal. I confronted him once. Carefully, calmly. Did you really need to tell her that about the promotion? I asked, voice even, almost gentle. He froze. What are you talking about? Dawn set lie to me, I said. I know everything, every call, every message. I see it. He looked away. Silence. The loudest confirmation I'd ever heard. Then her, my cousin. I watched her in subtle ways. How she checked her phone, always on edge. How she smiled, but never fully. There was a tension between them I hadn't expected. Like a thread pulling, fraying. I realized she was human. Weak, greedy, selfish, and that was my advantage. I started documenting. Photos, screenshots, snippets of conversations. Evidence. Small things. They wouldn't suspect. Not yet. You sup sure, obsessed, a friend texted once. Not obsessed, I typed back. Strategic, patient, calculating. I spent nights going over every interaction, replaying moments in my head. That night she bragged about him in front of her friends. That time he promised me the weekend, then canceled for her. Every lie, every smile, every stolen moment, it became ammunition. I tested boundaries. Push them gently, almost invisibly, small remarks, questions that planted doubt, glances that suggested I knew more than I did. Their responses were telling, nervous, defensive, weak. I didn't act rashly. Not yet. Patience was the key. The strike would only be devastating if I waited. If I prepared. "You're different," my husband said one night, after I quietly questioned him about a dinner I wasn't invited to. "Yes," I said softly, "and I am watching. Always." He didn't respond. He couldn't stet. I found satisfaction in the tiniest victories. A secret glance I caught, a lie I caught them in, their tiny panic when I showed up unexpectedly. It fed the fire inside me. "I see you," I whispered to the darkness of my apartment one night. "I see everything." It wasn't just about exposing them anymore. It was about reclaiming my life, my dignity, my power. I wouldn't just watch them fall. I would make them question everything, doubt everything. I mapped it out. Step 1, gather evidence. Step 2, plant seeds of doubt. Step 3, wait for cracks to widen. Step 4, strike, and strike hard. Even as I planned, I reminded myself, this isn't revenge for revenge's sake. This is justice. Poetic justice. The kind that burns in memory. The kind that leaves them haunted. I imagined the look on their faces when it all came together. Their disbelief, their panic, their helplessness. "You think you said you're untouchable," I muttered aloud one night, pacing. "But I set you're smarter than you. Patient, careful, calculating, and I will win." I wasn't just a victim anymore, not a ghost in my own life. I was a storm, waiting, watching, learning, preparing. And when the time came, I would strike. Slowly, precisely, with a force they couldn't see coming. I closed my journal that night, pen down, heart racing, mind sharp, rage simmering. I whispered into the silence, "This is only the beginning." I started small, tiny shifts, nothing they could pin on me, just whispers, hints, glimpses, seeds of doubt. That was enough. I called my husband Sep's boss, carefully, voice calm, almost casual. "I just noticed something about the reports he submitted. Maybe there's Sep's a mistake." There was a pause. Then really? "Can you show me?" "I forward the files," I said. "It's stuts subtle but it stuts there." I hung up, heart pounding, stomach twisting, one small step, one tiny crack. Next, family. I casually mentioned details I had heard, just enough to make his mother pause. "Are you sure he said that?" she asked, frowning. "Oh, I'm not positive," I said lightly, "but it did sound odd to me." Her eyes lingered on him during dinner. Suspicion, tiny, almost invisible, but real. And I watched. I watched them squirm. Their carefully polished life was unraveling, thread by thread, and I wasn't even touching it directly. Then came the texts. Anonymous tips to people who mattered. Just little truths, half hidden in casual phrasing, enough to ignite curiosity, doubt. "Did you hear about the last client meeting?" Someone whispered to my husband's colleague. I don't know," they replied, frowning. I thought he said exactly what I wanted. Confusion, unease, tiny tremors in their confidence. I caught glimpses of their panic in subtle ways. He checked his phone obsessively, her smile faltering when no one was watching. I couldn't help the small thrill that ran through me. It wasn't vengeance yet. It was strategy, calculated, precise. At home, my parents noticed too. My father, always blunt, finally asked, "Are you sure he's being honest with you?" I took a sip of tea, looked out the window. I think I'm starting to see the cracks myself," I said softly. My mother nodded, silent. Concern laced her eyes, but I could see the seed planted there too. "Doubt?" Observation. At work, I watched as a colleague approached him, hesitant. "I am confused about your last report. The numbers don't match." He stammered, tried to explain. She frowned, scribbling notes. Evidence. Subtle, accumulating. I didn't intervene, I just observed. My heart still throbbed with pain. The betrayal hadn't faded, but each misstep they made, each lie uncovered, it fueled me. I started writing it all down. A journal of small victories, of lies exposed, of masks slipping. Today he claimed to be on a client call. Witness says he was at a cafe with her, notes taken. Mother noticed tension at dinner. Their facade is cracking. The act of documenting made me feel powerful, in control. I was no longer drifting in a storm. They were, and I was watching. One evening, I overheard a conversation between them, whispered, frantic. She Seps noticing, he hissed. She can't know everything, she replied, but the tremor in her voice betrayed her. I leaned against the doorframe, silent, listening, smiling. I planted another seed that night, subtle comments to his colleagues. I heard about a missed deadline, strange considering how careful he usually is. Oh, one asked. Are you sure? I shrugged, innocent. I don't know. Just thought it was odd. Doubt, confusion, seeds sprouting everywhere. Family, work, friends, they all began noticing inconsistencies, and I was always just there, calm, observing, cataloging. Each time they stumbled, each hesitation, each defensive glance, they were closer to exposure, closer to the collapse I knew was coming. And yet, I remained composed, controlled, silent, patient. Every interaction, every tip, every small revelation, carefully measured. The more they tried to maintain appearances, the faster the cracks spread. I watched them argue quietly at a dinner party. Her voice rising, sharp, his hands shaking, guests pretending not to notice but noticing anyway. Why didn't Set you tell me? She snapped. I didn't Set think it mattered, he muttered. I sipped my wine across the room, invisible, calm, satisfied. It was intoxicating. The slow reveal, the realization that they were human, fallible, fragile. My heart still ached from betrayal, but watching the first signs of karmic justice, watching their perfection crumble, was fuel. I whispered to myself as I walked home that night, journal clutched tight, pen in hand. They think they're untouchable. They think they're clever, but they're breaking. And I am the storm they never saw coming. The seeds were planted, tiny, subtle, but alive, growing. And I would nurture them, every lie exposed, every secret revealed, every doubt seeded. Patience was my weapon, silence my ally, and when the time came, the harvest would be unforgettable. For now I watched, I waited, I calculated, and I grew stronger with every tremor, every crack, every hint of their unraveling. I was no longer powerless. I was awakening, a silent force gathering strength, and nothing could stop me. It started with a message, his name flashing on my phone. My heart didn't leap. It didn't race. It stopped. Please, can we talk? I need to explain. I need you to forgive me. I stared at it, my hands cold, numb, and for a fraction of a second, a flicker of the old me, the betrayed, the desperate me, wanted to answer. Then I remembered. Months of planning, months of watching, their cracks, their lies, their masks falling apart. No, not this time. A knock on the door, hesitant, tentative. My cousin. Hey, can we? Stop. My voice was calm. I didn't raise it, didn't tremble, just stop. She froze, and that smirk, the one I once hated, wavered. I could see the cracks, the anxiety beneath her charm. I just wanted to save it, I said, and she flinched. Your words are empty. Your lies are visible to everyone now. Do you feel that? That exposure? That humiliation? She swallowed. I didn't think it would get this far. I smiled softly, detached. Neither did you. That's the difference between us. I planned. You acted. And now, I let the silence hang, heavy, deadly. Her gaze dropped. I could see the panic rising, the carefully built facade crumbling. Then he came. My husband, eyes red, voice shaky. Please. I Seps, I'm sorry. I didn't mean. Save it, I echoed. Calm, controlled, not a hint of rage. I heard it all. I watched it all, and now everyone else has too. His lips quivered. I was wrong. Please, forgive me. I still do anything. I shook my head. Anything? There's nothing you can do. You Seps had your chance. You made your choice. And now? I paused. Slowly, deliberately. You live with it. Publicly. Personally. Everywhere. He looked at me, panic now fully visible. But, I love you. Love. I laughed softly. A hollow sound. Love doesn't erase betrayal. Love doesn't stet justify lies, and love certainly doesn't stet make you untouchable. She tried again, voice trembling. I didn't set mean for anyone to get hurt. I held up a hand. I know exactly what you meant. I know exactly what you felt, and I know exactly what you lost. The room was silent except for their ragged breathing. I watched as realizations sank in. The embarrassment, the exposure, the regret. It was intoxicating, poetic, perfect. You see, I said softly, almost to myself, every lie, every selfish choice, every smile that wasn't set mine, it all comes back. And now, I looked at them both, calm, composed, detached. You feel it, fully, the weight of your own actions. Her shoulders slumped, his gaze fell. I let the silence stretch, let them marinate in the consequences of their own making. You don't, you don't understand, he whispered finally, voice breaking. Oh, I understand, I said quietly. I understand better than you ever will. I understand patience, strategy, control, and I understand the difference between someone who betrays and someone who survives. Tears welled in their eyes. I didn't feel joy, not exactly, but I felt satisfaction. A dark, steady satisfaction. Their punishment wasn't mine to deliver. It had already been served. Publicly, personally, everywhere. You thought you could charm me, I said to her, voice low, calm. You thought your smile, your excuses, your manipulations would matter, but they don't set. You set her exposed, vulnerable, weak, and that is your regret. She nodded faintly, unable to meet my eyes. I turned to him. And you begged, you pleaded, you lied, you betrayed, and now, my voice softened slightly, almost cruelly gentle. You live with it, every glance, every question, every whisper, every memory of me that you can set erase. He sank into a chair, head in hands, words failing him, just like before, but worse. I exhaled slowly, feeling a calmness I hadn't felt in months. The storm inside me had settled. The plan had worked. Subtle, perfect, surgical. I sup am done here, I said, gathering my coat. I don't suppin to witness your shame anymore. It suppins yours, fully, publicly, irrevocably. I walked past them, the door clicked shut. Behind me their regret lingered, thick, suffocating, undeniable. Outside, the air was cold, clean, free. I smiled faintly, not triumphant, not cruel, just relieved. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. Their punishment was complete, their exposure total, their regret absolute. And I was free. I arrived early. The house smelled like polished wood and anticipation. I moved with calm precision, placing subtle hints, adjusting seating, ensuring everything was exactly as I wanted. Tonight wasn't about confrontation. It was about revelation. Justice, silence as punishment. They didn't suspect a thing. Not him. Not her. Not anyone. The family started arriving. Warm greetings. Small talk. I smiled, polite. Observing. Cataloging. Every eye. Every subtle glance. Every reaction recorded in my mind. He tried first. My husband. Smiling, smooth, attempting charm. Everyone, I just want to say, he began, but his words stumbled, my presence stretched like a cord, tight, invisible, cutting through his performance. Her eyes flicked to me. My cousin. She straightened, mask in place. Yes, we just wanted. I cut her off, calmly, softly. Oh please, we all know why you sup are here, or rather who you sup are trying to impress. A hush. The room shifted. Family eyebrows raised, glances exchanged. They hadn't expected this. He faltered. We. I smiled faintly. You don't set get to talk. Not tonight. Actions speak louder than words. Don't set they. I let silence hang. Delicious, heavy. I pulled out my phone, casually as if it were nothing. I noticed some inconsistencies. Things that didn't set add up. Stories that changed. Moments that weren't set. Truthful. Eyes widened. Whispers started. Like the client meeting subjects you mentioned last month. I asked my husband, voice light. Some people attended. They said otherwise. He swallowed, throat tight. Don't set bother. I shifted to her. And you, your stories. Funny how they unravel so quickly when someone actually pays attention. Her smirk faltered. I onset know what you mean. Don't lie, I said calmly. Everyone here can see. They seem to notice the discrepancies, the half-truths, the selfish choices, the manipulation. Family murmured. I let it ripple. Not too much, just enough. Seeds of doubt, fear, realization. You thought you could charm, deceive, hide behind smiles, I said to her, almost conversational. But everything leaves a trace, every lie, every betrayal. And now, it seeps visible. He tried again, desperation creeping in. Please, can we talk privately? I shook my head. No. The point is instead private. The point is exposure, witnesses, accountability, karma. I glanced around the room. Colleagues, cousins, friends, everyone watching, their eyes on the unraveling facade of a couple who had believed themselves untouchable. Funny, I said, voice soft, almost reflective. You wanted to erase me from your lives, make me invisible. But look, everyone sees now, your actions, your choices, your weakness. He ran a hand through his hair. I never meant for. Silence, I said. You said enough. Actions speak. Her eyes darted nervously. You think this proves anything? It proves everything, I said. It proves that manipulation has a shelf life, that lies eventually surface, that karma finds its way. The room was quiet, heavy, watching, waiting. I continued. You both believed you were clever, untouchable, above reproach, but every inconsistency, every selfish act, every betrayal you thought would remain hidden, is here, in plain sight, observed, judged. He stumbled backward. This isn't fair. I laughed softly. Hollow fairness? That sep's irrelevant. Truth? That sep's powerful. Truth exposes, devastates, liberates. She shook her head, voice faltering. I didn't think. You didn't think, because you never planned. You acted on impulse. Selfishness. Greed. Desire. And now, look at you. Exposed, humiliated. Your facade crumbling under the weight of your own choices. Family shifted. Eyes darted, whispers hushed. Colleagues nodded subtly, confirming observations. Friends exchanged glances. I took a step closer. Calm, deliberate. You wanted dominance, power, control. Tonight you have none. Not with me, not in this room, not anywhere. My husband dropped his gaze. My cousin's hands trembled, their confidence, their arrogance evaporating. I let a pause stretch, long and heavy, silence the loudest sound of all. And now, I said finally, voice low, steady, you understand, you feel it. The consequences of your choices, the weight of every betrayal, the exposure, the shame, all perfectly earned. Tears glistened in her eyes. His jaw tightened. They were human now, fallible, vulnerable, exposed. I didn't gloat. Not overtly. I didn't need to. The damage was self-inflicted. My role was observation, execution, strategy, justice served. I am done with you, I whispered almost to myself. Done with your lies, your manipulation, your games. And then I smiled, soft, almost peaceful, and I am free. The room exhaled, collectively. Relief, tension, revelation, a catharsis. My family saw it, my friends saw it. Even strangers, if they had been there, would have seen it. Truth unveiled. Karma realized. He tried one last plea. Please, we can fix this. No, I said final. There is nothing to fix. Only truth, only consequence, only reality. Her lips quivered. I didn't realize. I know exactly what you realized, I said. The cost of your actions, the fragility of your facade, the emptiness of your manipulations. And now, you live with it. I turned to leave. Coats on, head high, calm, detached, victory quiet, precise, absolute. Behind me their regret hung in the air, thick, palpable, suffocating. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. Every glance, every gasp, every tremor of recognition etched in my memory, proof of justice delivered. Outside, the air was crisp, clean, free. I inhaled deeply. For the first time in months, I felt whole, strong, unshackled. The old world betrayal, lies, manipulation had fallen away, the storm had passed. And I was no longer the betrayed. I was the silent force that endured. And that was enough. The morning sun hit my apartment differently now. Warm, not sharp. I didn't flinch from it. I didn't hide. I let it fill the room. Fill me. I poured coffee and sat by the window watching the city wake. There was a strange calm in the chaos outside. And inside me, peace. My phone buzzed. My best friend. Coffee later, she asked. Absolutely, I typed back. My fingers didn't tremble. No hesitation, just clarity. She arrived an hour later, arms full of flowers she swore were for moral support and ego repair. I laughed. It felt good, light, human. I think my ego survived the last few months, I said, placing them in a vase. She smiled. Barely. But you survived, that's what counts. I nodded, sipping my coffee. More than survived, I whispered. I grew. I learned. I woke up. She tilted her head, curious. Woke up? To life, I said. To myself. To what I deserve. To what Sep's real, and what Sep's fake. And to who I really am. Her smile widened. You stir stronger than anyone I've ever met. I laughed softly. It didn't feel like strength at the time. It felt like chaos. Like losing myself. Like burning. But now, I see the ashes, and I see me standing on them. She nodded. And what a view that is. Later my family called. My father Sep's deep voice. Warm. How are you holding up? Really? I took a deep breath. I stump good. Better than good, actually. I stump learning. I stump healing. And I stump moving forward. On my own terms. My mother chimed in softly. We step proud. You step endured and transformed. That sip's not easy. It stops not, I admitted. It was brutal, but every scar, every sleepless night, every tear, brought me here. To this calm, to this strength. Even talking about it didn't feel like reopening wounds. It felt like acknowledging survival, growth, power reclaimed. I reflected on the months past, the betrayal, the rage, the meticulous planning, the silent revenge. It had served its purpose. They were exposed. The storm had passed. And now, I wasn't just the person who was hurt. I was the person who had risen. I opened my journal, flipping through pages filled with strategy, pain, observation. Every entry reminded me of the chaos I had navigated, but also of the clarity I'd gained. I whispered to myself, softly, I am not defined by their choices. I am defined by mine. By how I rose, by how I reclaimed myself. Later that evening, I went for a walk. The streets were alive with people, moving, living, and I felt alive too. Not cautious, not hesitant, not bitter, free. I ran into a friend from work. She stopped, surprised. You look different, stronger, lighter. I smiled. I had to rebuild everything, brick by brick, but it steps mine now. Every step, every choice, every breath. She nodded, and you did instead just survive. You thrived. I laughed. Thrive. Yes, that SIP's exactly it. I finally understand what that word feels like. Back home, I cooked dinner, music playing softly, light streaming through the windows. I poured myself a glass of wine and toasted silently. To me, I whispered, to survival, to growth, to freedom, to life on my terms. My phone buzzed again. Best friend checking in. Wine and reflection, I see. Exactly, I typed back. Reflection, clarity, and gratitude. And you should join next time. I sank into the couch, letting the warmth of the apartment wrap around me. My past betrayal, heartbreak, rage, no longer controlled me. It had taught me, shaped me, hardened me. And now, I was soft where it mattered more. I thought about my mistakes, my blind spots, the moments I had doubted myself. I forgave myself quietly. Not for them, for me. You did everything right, in the end, I said softly to the empty room. You fought. You observed. You learned. You reclaimed your power. You survived. And thrived. Even the scars, faint and subtle, reminded me of resilience, not weakness. Everyone told a story of endurance, of strategy, of courage. I sent a text to my closest friends and family. I said, ready, let's celebrate, not just surviving but living, fully. Responses came back quickly. Smiles, laughter, warmth, connection, real people. People who mattered. Not manipulators, not betrayers, not those who pretended. I felt a deep sense of contentment, not fleeting happiness, not temporary relief. Solid, quiet, strong. I stood by the window again, watching the city lights flicker. My reflection smiled back at me. Not hollow, not bitter, not vengeful. Just me, whole, strong, free. I whispered one last affirmation into the night. I am no longer defined by betrayal. I am defined by my rise above it, by my courage, by my choices, by the life I build from here on. And for the first time in months, I felt unshakable. The past was ashes, the storm had passed. And I was rising. The park was quiet that morning, just enough sun to warm my shoulders. I sat on a bench, coffee in hand, notebook open, letting the world move around me without rushing me. You always come here alone? A voice asked softly. I looked up. A man stood there, casual, kind eyes, a small smile that wasn't intrusive. I do, I admitted, closing my notebook. Mind if I sit? I hesitated. A flicker of caution, reflex from old betrayals. Then I nodded. Sure. He sat, careful, respectful, no hidden agenda, no charm masking deceit. Something about him made me relax almost immediately. I stepped on Daniel, he said. I stepped. I'm okay, I replied, laughing softly at my own awkwardness. It's been a long morning. You look like someone who's been through a lot, he said, not accusing, just noticing. I smiled faintly. That obvious, huh? Not obvious, just, I can tell. You carry weight, but not the kind that breaks you. The kind that shapes you. I blinked, surprised, a stranger, but somehow understanding. I guess, I've learned that weight is mine to carry, I said quietly. Not theirs, not the people who tried to control me, betray me, erase me. He nodded. Exactly. And it sucks heavy, but it sucks also proof. Proof you survived. Proof you suck still standing. I let silence stretch, letting it settle between us. Peaceful, comfortable. Not suffocating. Not tense. Just present. Do you want to walk? He asked after a moment. I considered it. Outdoors, moving, fresh air. I hadn't felt so free in months. Yeah, I said. We walked, step by step. I shared small things. Nothing of the past betrayals. Nothing raw, just life. Observations, little truths about me. He listened, truly listened. Nodded, asked questions. Never judged, never interrupted, never made it about him. You are different, he said finally. Not in a bad way. I mean, strong, but soft, caring, observant. I laughed lightly. Different is instead always easy. It's steps earned. Earned how? Through fire, I whispered. Almost to myself, through betrayal, through loss, through knowing exactly what it feels like to be erased and choosing not to let it define me. He stopped walking, looked at me directly. You start incredible. I smiled, letting the warmth spread. I survived that sefsal. Nothing incredible about that, just moving forward. Moving forward, looks good on you, he said softly. I paused, considered him. This presence, this gentle, honest connection, and for the first time in months I allowed myself to believe in safety, in respect, in potential trust. You are different too, I said. Not just kind, careful, thoughtful. It steps nice to encounter someone without masks, without games. He chuckled lightly. Nice to hear that. I septum Daniel, remember? I know, I said, smiling, and I appreciate it. We walked in silence a little longer. Comfortable, companionable. No pressure, no expectations, just presence. Mutual understanding. I thought of the journey I'd been on. The heartbreak, the betrayal, the careful revenge, the reclaiming of my life. Every scar, every tear, every late night cataloging truths had led me here. I touched my wrist, tracing the faint scar that reminded me of my endurance. They stir not just scars, I whispered. They stir badges, proof, survival. Daniel glanced at me, understanding, badges worth wearing, he said. I nodded, felt it. Finally, a sense of peace I hadn't thought possible for months. I don't instead to rush into things anymore, I admitted. I spiv learned to protect myself, but I spiv also learned to allow trust cautiously. He smiled. That sap's wise and fair. You deserve that. I exhaled, letting tension leave my shoulders. Letting the past exist, but not control me. Letting myself feel light, free. We reached the edge of the park, sun warm on our backs. I looked at him, this new connection, this new potential chapter, and felt something I hadn't in a long time. Hope, calm, possibility. Coffee again sometime? He asked casually, but hopeful. I smiled. Genuine. Yeah, I said. I stepped like that. As we walked separate ways, I thought of the past, of betrayal, of rage, of revenge served and justice done. It existed, but it didn't define me. It hadn't broken me. I raised my face to the sun, deep breath, the warmth on my skin, the city alive around me. I whispered to myself softly, smiling for the first time in months. I survived. I learned. I grew. I reclaimed my life. And now, I rise from the ashes, ready for what comes next. Scars visible, yes, but badges, proof, strength, independence, dignity, freedom. And for the first time truly, fully, I felt it. I smiled, finally free.